From the mud to the rise, yeah, we built it on the grind. Trench talk, real talk, leave the fake ones behind. We don't fold, we don't break, every move we define. It's the code from the trenches where the real ones align.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? Today, we're diving deep into the gritty streets of Sacramento, straight into the heart of Oak Park. This ain't your average neighborhood story. This is about survival, street wars, and the rise and fall of one of Sacktown's most notorious hoods. Oak Park wasn't always like this. Back in the late 1800s, it was Sacramento's very first suburb, a spot built for families looking for a slice of the good life just outside the city hustle. It had theaters, shops, even its own amusement park called Joyland, and the streets were full of blue-collar workers grinding for their families. But as the decades rolled on, the Great Depression hit, jobs dried up, and the neighborhood changed. When other parts of Sacramento locked out black families with racist housing rules, Oak Park opened its doors, becoming a hub for African Americans and other minorities looking for a place to call home. But with the good came the bad. The construction of Highway 99 in the 60s literally split Oak Park in half, cutting off businesses and opportunities. The area got hit hard by poverty, and by the 1980s and 90s, the streets were flooded with drugs, crime, and the kind of violence that would put Oak Park on the map for all the wrong reasons. Gangs moved in, and the Oak Park Bloods, one of the oldest sets in Sacramento, rose up, making these blocks infamous across Northern Cali. But yo, Oak Park ain't just about the gangs. This hood's got history, real black history. Before the Bloods, you had the Funk Lords, and even the Black Panther Party had roots here, fighting for the community and holding it down when times got rough. Through riots, police battles, and street wars, Oak Park's people never gave up, building a legacy of resilience and pride that runs deep in Sacramento's DNA. So buckle up, because we're about to break down the history, the street politics, the wildest beefs, and what Oak Park has become today. From the OG days to the modern grind and everything in between. Let's rewind the clock. Oak Park started over 150 years ago as Sacramento's first suburb, built for the middle and upper class, with beautiful Victorian homes and a vibe straight out of the American dream. Picture this: tree-lined streets, grand houses, streetcars rolling down Broadway, and families spending weekends at Joyland Amusement Park. Back then, Oak Park was the place to be, full of promise, pride, and prosperity. It was a tight-knit community where neighbors looked out for each other and local businesses thrived. But by the 1950s and 60s, that dream started to crack. The city began to change, and so did Oak Park. White flight hit hard. Families with money packed up and moved to the brand new suburbs popping up around Sacramento. Businesses followed, leaving behind empty storefronts and lost jobs. Then came the construction of Highway 99, which cut right through the heart of Oak Park. That freeway didn't just split the neighborhood physically, it tore apart the community, isolating the east side and making it harder for residents to get to work, shop, or even see their friends and family across town. With the money gone and the community in transition, Oak Park turned rough. The streets that once echoed with laughter and music now saw boarded up homes and rising crime. The city's neglect meant less investment, less opportunity, and more struggle for the people who stayed behind. The neighborhood became a landing spot for families pushed out of other areas. Black, Latino, and Asian families looking for a place to survive, but also bringing their own hopes and hustle. By the 80s, the crack era hit Sacramento like a tidal wave, and Oak Park was right in the center of it. Drugs flooded the streets, addiction soared, and violence followed close behind. With the chaos came the gangs, Bloods and Crips from LA, bringing their colors, their codes, and their own brand of street justice. Oak Park quickly became a stronghold for the Bloods, especially in three sections that would become legendary: 4th Ave, 33rd Street, and 12th Ave. These sets came together to form the Oak Park Bloods, also known as FAB, 4th Avenue Bloods, or 612, a name that rang out in the streets and in the headlines. Leading the charge was a man named Nigel Collins out of Pomona, who brought that raw LA energy and helped organize the sets, giving Oak Park its reputation as one of the most feared and respected hoods in Sacktown. The streets changed forever, and Oak Park's story took a turn that nobody could have predicted. Now, Oak Park ain't just about the Bloods. The gang politics in Sacramento are messy and complicated. Bloods beef with Bloods, Crips beef with Crips, and sometimes the lines blur with hybrid gangs mixing both sets. But Oak Park's main rival, That's G Parkway, also known as G Mob or the Stars. Unlike Oak Park's Bloods roots, G Parkway's origins come straight out of Oakland, California, and they don't play by the same Blood Crip rules. G Parkway is a hybrid crew, rolling with both Bloods and Crips, but their loyalty is to their block above all else, not just their colors. G Parkway's story is different. Their members mostly moved from Oakland to Sacramento's Parkway neighborhood, bringing their own style of street organization. They formed the G Mob to defend their turf, and later rebranded as the Stars or G Marble Stars. This crew is tight-knit, connected to Oakland's gang culture, and fiercely protective of their territory. Their alliances cross traditional gang lines, making them unpredictable and dangerous. Besides G Parkway, Oak Park also has beef with other Sacramento neighborhoods like Del Paso Heights and the Garden Block Crips, but none of those rivalries hit as hard as Oak Park versus G Parkway. This beef is legendary in Sac, known for its intensity and long history of violence. Think of it like Chicago's O Block versus 63rd Street beef, but with that West Coast flavor, fast, brutal, and unrelenting. The rivalry has sparked countless violent incidents over the years, from shootouts at donut shops and house parties to drive-bys and ambushes on the streets. For example, in 2004, a G Parkway man named Michael Cherry got caught up in Oak Park territory and was shot while trying to escape, sparking more tension. In 2005, Oak Park's David Perkins was killed in a shootout linked to the beef. And in 2007, a deadly shootout at a Del Paso Heights party left a 16-year-old Oak Park member dead, escalating the war even further. This beef isn't just about colors or traditional gang lines. It's about territory, respect, and survival. Both sides are fearless, ready to throw down at any moment, whether at a club, a party, or just walking down the street. The hatred runs deep and has passed down to the next generation, with rappers like Mozzy representing Oak Park and CML Lavish D repping G Parkway, turning their hood stories into music that echoes their struggles and pride. So when you talk about Oak Park, you gotta understand, it's more than just a blood set. It's a battleground of complex alliances, fierce rivalries, and a street war that shaped Sacramento's underground for decades. June 16, 2004. It all kicked off when Michael Cherry, a known G Parkway member, rolled into Oak Park territory. Tensions were already sky high, and Cherry found himself under heavy pressure, what the streets call getting pressed. As the situation exploded, Cherry tried to make a run for it, but he got shot during the chase. In a desperate move, he jumped into a garbage truck and ordered the driver to get him out of there. Shots were fired all around, but the code of silence held strong. No snitching, no talking. The cops couldn't pin anything on anyone, so charges got dropped. But make no mistake, this incident only turned up the heat on the beef, fueling more violence and retaliation. July 28, 2005. The war escalated when Oak Park Bloods, including a young and ruthless hitter named Miguel Enriquez, rolled up on their rivals. Shots rang out in the night, and the streets ran red. G Parkway's Eric Young was killed in the crossfire, and another member, Malcolm Brewer, was seriously wounded. Miguel Enriquez became infamous after this hit. He's been locked up ever since, but his name still echoes in Oak Park streets as a symbol of savage loyalty and deadly precision. This event marked a turning point, showing that Oak Park wasn't backing down and was ready to take the fight to their enemies. January 17, 2007, 3 Oak Park teens made the fatal mistake of walking into enemy territory thinking maybe they could handle the situation, but words quickly turned to fists, fists turned to bullets, and the violence exploded. Oak Park's own Lamar was dropped cold by G-Mob's Lil Stay, who later got sentenced to 50 years to life for the hit. This wasn't just another gang fight, it was a brutal reminder that the war was deadly serious, and crossing into enemy blocks meant risking your life. The reverberations of this hit sent shockwaves through both crews, intensifying the already burning rivalry. March 23, 2007, one of the darkest days came at a party in Del Paso Heights, where a wild shootout broke out. Bullets flew indiscriminately, and innocent lives were caught in the crossfire. Among the victims was Monique Nelson, a mother who tragically lost her life right in front of her child. This wasn't just gang business anymore, it was a community tragedy. The violence spilled over beyond the gangs, leaving families grieving and neighborhoods mourning. This incident sparked outrage and calls for peace, but the street war kept raging under the surface. These are just a few of the savage stories that paint the brutal reality of the Oak Park versus G Parkway war. But the saga doesn't end there. The streets also birthed legends. Rappers like Mozzy, Oak Park's own rap kingpin, who turned his pain and hustle into music that put the hood on the map. On the flip side, G Parkway star CML, also known as Lavish D, rose up from the same chaos, telling his side of the story through raw, unfiltered lyrics. Their music immortalizes the struggle, the loyalty, and the savage spirit of these neighborhoods, showing the world what it really means to live and survive in Oak Park and G Parkway. So yeah, the beef was real, the battles were deadly, and the legacy, it's still alive, etched into the streets, the music, and the hearts of those who call Oak Park home. Fast forward to today, and Oak Park is changing fast. Gentrification is hitting hard. Old homes are getting flipped, new businesses popping up, and the vibe is shifting. Some see it as a comeback. New restaurants, higher home values, and a new crowd moving in. But for the OGs and the families who've been here, it's a battle to hold on to their roots. Community groups are fighting for affordable housing and to keep the culture alive, even as the city pushes for more development. So what's Oak Park now? It's a neighborhood caught between its savage past and an uncertain future. The gangs are still there, but so are the dreamers, the hustlers, and the families trying to make it work. The story of Oak Park ain't over. It's just another chapter in the saga of Sacramento's realest streets. If you like this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe for more savage street stories, and drop a comment if you want to hear about another hood. Stay safe, and remember, the streets never forget.